So, I watched Captain America, Brave New World, and it was unsurprisingly soulless. In case you couldn't tell from the excited tone of my voice, I am frankly one of those people that are just fed up with the MCU. I still often keep myself up to date with movies like Deadpool and Wolverine. But those are usually just out of obligation rather than on a whim. I kind of just don't see the point of getting excited with a new superhero movie anymore, especially with the genre becoming oversaturated in the movie market. I have recently gone ahead and explored new horizons with my movie-going experiences. The undisputed fact is that superhero films have become nothing more than just pleasurable packages towards the casual market that don't take in otherwise experimental or art house films that I've genuinely grown an appreciation for. Flow is one such example. That has become one of my favorite animated films of last year, next to The Wild Robot, instead of the obligatory Pixar and Disney offerings in the form of sequels to Inside Out and Moana. I've grown tired of them personally, and lately I've been wanting to escape that blatant conformity due to my passion for writing and game design. However, that is going to stop me from still, at the very least, try to see if Disney/Marvel can still prove me wrong. So here we are with Captain America, Brave New World, starring Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, previously known as the Falcon and now the new face of the Captain America mantle. The story this time around is that Thaddeus Ross, Harrison Ford, is now the President of the United States and declares a treaty with foreign leaders over a new material that he and miners have discovered called adamantium. However, during a press call he is attacked by Isaiah Bradley, Carl Lumbly, the previous super soldier in the past, and is placed on death row for attacking the president. Sam Wilson and his friend Joaquin, Danny Ramirez, now must investigate what went wrong before America is put into another civil war. Without spoiling much, the story is undercooked, but that's to be expected with your typical Marvel flair. It really is just a boring version of a typical political thriller type film. The only difference is instead of Liam Neeson or Gerard Butler we have superheroes with wings and a big angry red guy. That's it. The film does nothing to service the world that the MCU takes place in other than the stuff we as audiences are familiar with. They set up a political threat that endangers the American way. The hero has to go on a long journey to expose the conspiracy and plot, comes across some hardship and heartache, but eventually comes out on top with all the skills he knows and masters. This isn't Hunt for the Red October or Black Hawk Down or Olympus Has Fallen or Splinter Cell levels of interesting. It's basically just a worse version of The Winter Soldier and Civil War, in that it has nothing to say on a thought-provoking manner about the subject of their film. My first thought when watching this was wondering what the American government is like in a world without DTR running it, and the people running the White House and Secret Service are especially accurate in terms of just people actually doing their jobs, and Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross especially being well versed in his role as the POTUS. We've seen Ford portray political figures in the past, and his performance is actually the best that I have seen from him in a while, taking over for the late William Hurt. In terms of his arc, however, I do appreciate giving this character closure that had been left hanging for the last 17 years after the release of The Incredible Hulk. That, and bringing back both Liv Tyler and Tim Blake Nelson back into the roles of Betty Ross and Samuel Stearns. I'd like to imagine they got a hefty paycheck from Disney to come back into these roles after a little more than a decade had passed. So if for anything, I'm happy to see that some resolve and justice was done to this character. The action was boring. I know. Shocking, right? What? A Marvel movie with boring action and no stakes? You better believe it. That sentence is no joke. I literally have nothing more to say other than the action was boring, because it is basic cookie-cutter Marvel movie action, only this time it's even dull than The Winter Soldier. I remember back in 2014 when the Russo brothers were praised for their attempt at honest trailer-proofing their film, because they actually made a good superhero action movie at the time. Normally, Film directors are just given notes and a screenplay to work off on, but if you go back and rewatch The Winter Soldier now, you can see that they definitely wanted to make a good action movie and have it make sense with real stakes, grounded action sequences and superb editing. The action in Brave New World is dull and lifeless, and it doesn't feel organic enough for me to be invested in what is going through the character's head. Whatever action is happening on screen is just nothing to write home about, and it comes off feeling like a watered-down version of the aforementioned movies I listed. And my biggest issue with this film comes down to just one statement that my brain is telling me. No one is ever in constant danger. I'm sorry, did you expect me to turn my brain off and enjoy the dumb action and regurgitating quips? Well, guess what? My expectations were lowered. I went in knowing full well that I was seeing a modern Marvel movie, and I am still disappointed. So apologies if whatever reason my tone with Marvel had undergone a surgical change recently, because I am frankly just fed up with this cookie-cutter boring slop. And it's even worse, the only reason anyone would have any reason to continue watching these films is to talk about how progressive Marvel has become after Endgame. Weird. Because naturally they have always been progressive. The Winter Soldier is quite honestly a progressive movie. If we're gonna talk about the political subtext of the movie, that has to do with the skin color of Sam Wilson, where the F***ck were you when SHIELD was accused of being run by a Nazi organization. And let's not forget how much better the effects were in that movie compared to this. The digital effects are bad. They are overstimulated with green screen effects that look worse than that Master of the Universe movie. I am just not engaged with all this shit, and when you think it was getting good, it started getting bad again. There is a scene where Harrison Ford is having convulsions when he is resisting turning into the Red Hulk, and they were honestly really funny. Then when he eventually does turn into the Red Hulk, he looks like crap. My friend, who dragged me to watch this film, mentioned that he would rather watch the Ang Lee Hulk movie again after sitting through this one. And I agree. No matter how strong your opinion is on the 2003 Hulk movie was, you can't deny that Eric Bana's Hulk actually looks decent. With all of that money spent on visual effects departments trying to make Red Hulk look somewhat grey looking, it's no wonder why special effects artists have revolted against Marvel Studios. These things are literally just commercials for the next big tentpole film to get their still existing fan base excited for and to see their favorite comic book character get the big screen treatment. Anyways, the rest of the film is whatever. I liked some of the performances from the actors. I enjoyed seeing Tim Blake Nelson again, even though he's still in better movies such as The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I actually liked Koshorog more in the movie. Danny Ramiertz was annoying. Harrison Ford, again, I liked his performance. I do think he gave it his all here, filling in for Hurt's character. Giancarlo Esposito is wasted in this movie, his character was so forgettable. The only other actor I do like is Carl Lumbly. He's actually a pretty chill guy, and his performance has improved greatly from The Falcon and The Winter Soldier. I do not like that we hardly ever see him at all, given the plot is about him being framed and spends most of the film in prison. I feel like they did him real dirty in that regard. Anthony Mackie is not great. Okay, hear me out. I don't think he's a bad actor, but his character remains stoic throughout. Most of my gripes with Marvel heroes in these movies tend to come from characters that are too afraid to show any other emotion other than a poker face. There are odd expectations, but the Falcon/Cap in general has always been this cool dude with wings and whatnot, and this is his big movie debut. He doesn't emote so much as show concern about the dire situation he's in, and it's because of this, I fail to even connect with his character on a level I can understand. Perhaps he's sick of these films as well. None of them are bad actors, they are just here to just earn a paycheck, and that's really it. But really, overall, this movie is nothing but a paycheck for the people that continue to work in this industry. I don't care if this movie is making money or not, really I don't care. I'd rather watch a movie that has a lower budget but still made a decent chunk at the box office like The Substance, than watch another $180 to $200 million slog that has nothing to say. I'm really obsessed with The Substance, guys. I'm sorry, not sorry. Honestly, the last good Marvel movie out of the current MCU that I have liked was Guardians of the Galaxy Vol 3. I recently just started playing the video game on Steam Deck lately and it is a blast. This movie has a boring and disposable story with forgettable characters I'm not going to think about in the next 10 minutes. The action is dull, the CGI is crap and the music is borderline forgettable. In other words, it's another Marvel movie. Am I being too harsh on this film? Honestly, I have changed over time and I really am just too embarrassed to be around this franchise. In case you haven't noticed, I've recently started getting hyper-fixated on Happy Tree Friends again, and the fan base has been making content based around this violent animal show, which at one point in my 20s, called it a bad show for a multitude of reasons. Now, I have actually renewed my love for the show, simply because I miss this type of media. A recent fan-made animation based on the infamous black comedy web cartoon gave me more hope and genuine love for the series than something like Velma ever could. And it definitely made me care more about the characters than any new MCU movie will. What I am getting at here is that the grass is becoming greener. You don't really know what it is that you loved until it is too late. Brave New World broke me in a way that no other movie has. But it has opened my eyes. It doesn't do anything new. It has nothing to say. It is boring and saccharine in practice. The Marvel formula has run dry, and whether or not the new Fantastic Four movie will improve upon this, I'm better off watching other and more creative films like Mickey 17. That's about it. This film is disposable cookie-cutter slop. And I am giving this film a 4 out of 10. It's closer to a 5 than a 3, but who knows. I'm bringing it down to a 3 upon rewatch. Oh yeah, see you later. Bye.